Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Zoo to You. We are here inside the tropical forest. Today is a very special day, Giving Tuesday. We have a link in the description which you can learn more about. But Giving Tuesday is a great time to give to our pals like Jockamo here, our giant anteater. Any kind of support will go towards his sort of enrichment and our animal care team. Today we are here with Jockamo, our 13-year-old giant anteater. It looks like he is going around exploring his habitat right now. You can see his different type of enrichment that he is checking out. So our animal care team put together a nice box filled with some of his favorite treats. Today I think he has super worms, mealworms, and maybe some special chow as well. So we can see if we can get around and see his very special tongue that he has. But this type of enrichment isn't something that he normally gets on a daily basis. We like to call these types of enrichment novel food as well. So although he does get different types of insects and bugs in his daily diet as well as his chow, it looks like he might have a little extra today for Giving Tuesday to show how much he is appreciated here at Franklin Park Zoo. So our giant anteaters are native to Central and South America. They typically live in moist forests, dry forests, savannas, and open grasslands. They can pretty much survive in multiple different types of terrains. You can also get a good look at how Jockamo walks around. So you might not know this, but he actually walks around on his knuckles, kind of like our gorilla troop family does. And that is for a very particular reason. Jockamo has very large claws on his front paws. They're roughly about 4 inches long. And those are very useful for him when it comes to finding food. So primarily out in the wild, they would typically eat ant colonies. So there are different types of ant mounds that he would climb up, use that really long snout and tongue to kind of go inside all the holes inside the mound, but he'd also use those claws to kind of rip open the mounds and maybe tear different pieces of his bark off of his logs. I think we might get a good look at his tongue. Let's see. He's checking it out. Checking out his surroundings. He stuck it out a little bit. But yeah, those claws are used to really dig inside those mounds and different logs to access all the different types of grubs he might want to eat. So normally, like I had mentioned, he would eat ants out in the wild, but here he would need to consume many, many ants, so it's easier for our animal care team to provide him with superworms, mealworms, and different types of insects, grasshoppers, or crickets, my apologies, crickets as well. And we actually have our own bug colony here at the zoo as well. So he is fitted to get all the bugs that he needs on a consistent basis. Let's see if we can get him to stand up a little bit here. Awesome. So anteaters are very exploratory animals. So it looks like he took interest something way in the back of his habitat back there. But he also put his claws up to kind of dig inside, see what he could see as well. But another part of his body, which is super useful for trying to stand up and balance, is his tail. So you can see, and that gives him balance when standing up, as well as protection. So when anteaters typically sleep throughout the day or at night, they'll use that as kind of like a big umbrella to act as cover. He'll cover it up over his head, kind of give him some nice shade, and kind of hide himself in wherever he decides to sleep for the day or evening.
We have a few questions.
Sure, yeah.
Martha is wondering if they're trainable.
Wonderful question, Martha. So are giant anteaters trainable? So one thing that we do here at Franklin Park Zoo is target training. So particularly mammals and a lot of other animals we have here at the zoo are target trained. We do that for a few different reasons. The main one is for veterinary procedures. It is super helpful. So we have a giant target in which we will point in a certain direction and get whichever animal we're training at the time to pretty much either boop it with its nose or sometimes use their paw to tap it. And that is helpful for our keepers and veterinary staff to be able to see the entire body of the animal that they're looking at, make sure that everything is in a good condition. And it also helps us be able to crate our animals if we need to take them to the actual vet location. But it's very helpful to be able to examine them out on their habitat so we don't need to transport them anywhere.
Dominic was wondering how long their tongue is.
How long are their tongues? That is a great question. So giant anteaters' tongues are typically about 2 feet long. So you can imagine it's super helpful trying to get inside all those mounds and logs and be able to get all the insects inside there. They also have an extremely sticky saliva, and you can also imagine that is super helpful in getting all their food items as well. So it looks like he isn't taking too much of an interest of his food right now, but our keepers will keep that out there for the remainder of the day, and he'll be able to get to it as he needs to. He just came out on his habitat, so I'm sure he's exploring everything he has out here. Another fun little fact about giant anteaters is they have no teeth. So he has a very, very small mouth at the end of that. He uses just his tongue to consume his food. There are no teeth, there's no chewing involved, but that tongue is able to go around corners, through different crevices, and everything is really magnificent and helpful. So Jockamo and other giant anteaters would have some natural predators down in South America. The main one would be jaguars. The main way he would defend himself against jaguars, ideally would to be escape and hide would be his first line of defense, but then would be his massive claws that we talked about earlier. So not only are they good for getting into things and finding food, but also defending himself. They do have a pretty powerful swat if they do need to fend off a jaguar. There he goes. So inside there, he also has his chow. And that is basically just more another nutritional supplement to make sure he's meeting all of his dietary needs. Kind of looks like little dog kibble. But we'll mix that in with all of his bugs to make sure that he is getting all the nutrients he needs to have a very healthy lifestyle. Just walking all around. So another main threat to our giant anteaters is habitat loss. So unfortunately, down in Central and South America, there is a lot of farming that happens, and naturally they will do something called like slash and burning of vegetation to make room for planting crops. And unfortunately, that does get rid of that natural vegetation in which giant anteaters would be living in. But there are products you can help buy to support these animals that are affected by habitat loss, such as different paper towel goods, paper products you can find at stores that have labels on the back of them that say they come from a sustainable forest as well. So they take them from areas in which do not harm species like the giant anteater and aren't affecting their habitat as well. Wonderful. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat and I can continue to answer them as they come on up. So you can also tell he has very, very small eyes. A lot of people ask, is that because he only comes out during the day or is it at night? Can you see better in one or the other? Giant anteaters are typical. They do come out during the day and evenings. They do not prefer daytime or nighttime, but Jockamo here is mostly active during the mornings and the evenings here at the zoo. So this would be a fantastic time to come and visit him if you do plan on making a trip. Looks like he's checking out his pool right now. So I've only seen him go in there a couple of times, but it is also a little water source for him as well. I know Jockamo also enjoys different types of mud baths and sprays. So our keepers will actually bring a garden hose over by the wall and spray them down. And you can kind of see he's walking by his little mud pit right now, and he'll roll around in it and really have a good time. And it kind of cools them off as well. Oh, there he goes, using those claws. That is awesome. You can really see his tongue in there. Awesome, digging right in. And that's one way to do it. So he doesn't have to dig through the puzzle. You can just get free range of it right on the ground. So the reason why we have those different types of items in there, especially like the big swirly puzzle, is to really stimulate Jockamo and get him to really work for his food as if it was inside a log or an ant mound. But it seems like he just wants to do it the easy way, tip it on out, and get free access to all of his worms inside there. Alrighty. So it looks like he might not be taking too much interest. That's right where he typically will take his naps. So it looks like he's checking out his area now. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us here today at Franklin Park Zoo inside the tropical forest and learning some cool things about our pal here, Jockamo. His birthday is coming up in January, I believe, so if you plan on making a visit, come on over, and I'm sure he'll get plenty of different types of enrichment items here. And thank you so much again for stopping by, and hopefully we'll see you again soon here at Franklin Park Zoo.